Today we're going to be connecting a MIDI controller to palette to help you speed up your cable management in VCV Rack. Hopefully it's a patch that'll save you a little bit of time and a little bit of headache when trying to make your VCV projects as understandable as possible. So the first thing we'll need is a MIDI cat from Store Melder. And I'll connect my MIDI device. And then we'll need a trigger for this patch too. So I'll be using the Mark I triggers from AS. And we'll turn the volts all the way up. And then we'll go ahead and we'll map our MIDI controller to it. So you click on Unmapped. And now it's mapping. And I'll push the trigger button on my MIDI controller that I want. And we want to click on the momentary here. And then we'll click off. And now, when I click my MIDI controller, the momentary button fires. And it's sending a pulse out from the volts out here. So now, we need a way to control presets in palette. So we will be using 8-face. And we'll go ahead and we'll connect the volts out here. And we'll need to change some settings in here to make it work in this patch. So we'll go into the context menu, go to Module, click once on it to change it from left to right. We want 8-face to be interfacing with whatever module is on its right-hand side, touching it. So now we can add palette. And we want to make sure that it's butted right up next to 8-face. And this allows you to select, to override VCV on what cable color is selected next. So right now in VCV, if I were to go and grab a cable, it would be red. And then it would follow the pattern that VCV natively comes with. If I want to override that, if I don't want red to be the next color, I can come over here and click yellow, and it'll be a yellow cable. If I want it to be blue, I can do that. So you can jump around, help you organize a little bit better. It also has a cool feature where you can lock in the color. So now I have yellow selected here. Now every time I go and grab a cable, it's going to be yellow until I click off onto another color or turn lock off, and then it'll just cycle back through again. So back to 8-face. What we have here are 8 presets that we're going to be programming based on whatever we have palette set up as. So to program 8-face, you're going to want to go down to the read and write switch, turn it into write mode. And now we want to save presets off to these different buttons here. So the way that you do that is you click on whatever you want your preset to be. So in this case, our first one is going to be assigned to our first preset here. And that's that. And we'll just go down the line. Blue's on 2, yellow is on 3, green is on 4, and we are set here for the write. So we're going to turn this back into read, and you can see that our presets are now lit up, and we have the ability to go in and click on whatever preset we want, and it dials in what we have assigned to this particular button. So that's great. Our momentary, remember our momentary button is attached to or connected to our MIDI controller. So every time we click our MIDI controller, we're sending out an advance pulse to slot. So if I click that trigger button, we advance down the line of the presets. But we have a problem because 8-face doesn't automatically reset when it gets to the end of the presets that you have in, right? So if I click again, we're going to be stuck on green. So we need a way for 8-face to re-trigger when we're on this last preset. And a way that you can do that is by using the counter module from ML. So we're going to open that up. Move it over here. And there's a few things that you need to set up here for this to work. First off, you want to set your length to however many active colors you have. If you have 4, we'll be setting it to 4. If you have 7, which palette allows you to do, you would set that to 7. Next, you want to take the stop out and connect it to the start. So every time the cycle is completed, it will send a pulse from out to start to restart this counter. You'll also want to connect the trigger to the same volts out that you connected 8-phase to here. So this will be what's doing our counting. Lastly, you'll want to take the start out and connect that to reset, because when the cycle ends at 4, it'll send a pulse to reset and reset our 8-phase back to the first position here. So a very important step is to make sure that you initialize this counter first. And you're going to have to do that. It's kind of a 2-step process. So you'll click this button. It starts that counter. You can see that it reset us to 1 here. But we're starting our trigger count on 0 here. So what we're going to need to do is press our MIDI controller trigger button that we've mapped to triggers 5 times to cycle it through back to 1. But now we can see that we are on our first preset here, our first preset in palette, and we're on the first count of our trigger and counter. So now, as I press, we're all lined up. So this is helpful if you are using palette and you do, like maybe you are way out in the side of your patch and you don't want to go back to the left side every single time and select this. What this allows you to do is it kind of gives you another hand, right? So right now we're selected on green. We have the lock turned on. So every time I'm patching something, it's going to be green. Now let's say I want blue. I can just push that button on my MIDI controller and get me right to blue. Yellow, let's do a red, and one more yellow. So hopefully this helps you with cable management in VCV and speeds up your process a little bit and makes your patches a little bit more understandable. Thanks for watching.